Yo! What's going on? Oh, my friends, good afternoon. What's going on? How's everybody doing? Dude, what a wonderful day. Happy hump day, guys. Paul, what's up, buddy? Lyle, how you doing? Where's everybody coming in from? Dude, life is good. Romy, how you doing? Alexander, Mr. Stock Picker, how are you? My man, B-Mac. Kaz, what's going on? Guys, it's amazing to see everybody. We got a lot to talk about today. My man from Belgrade. Oh, damn, you're living in LA, huh? Hey, Harsh, how you doing? Detroit, baby, Detroit. Mr. Tom, how are you? Awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit about what we got to get going on and see what we can do here. So, guys, welcome. Exciting day in the crypto markets because the news came out a little bit earlier than I was anticipating, but it looks like the Bitcoin fork news is out and it's a no-go. So, in the last few weeks, well, actually longer than that even, the Bitcoin market has been really running just crazy because in anticipation of the Bitcoin fork, which is essentially, they're diverging in the blockchain in some manner to kind of create like a new coin, which was the Bitcoin Gold or whatever, and all that fun stuff. And while that's been happening, the market itself has been just sitting around. It's not been doing literally anything. And so today the news came out that no longer are they going to be doing the fork because they can't agree on something, blah, 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 blah. And boom, everything has been off into the races. And so what we'll have to do right now is, so we got an initial spike on a lot of names. So what we're going to have to do now is watch and see how that first pullback goes. If it holds, then I think we're going to have some nice little shred opportunities. So that's actually really exciting. Let's take a look at some charts and get this party going. Get this party going. My man Manish, what is up? Let's get into this, guys. We got so much to do, and this is an amazing day. Tell me when you can see my screen. Dude, we're going to shred. Cool. So let's talk a little bit about the BTC. So one of the things that's been happening really since this kind of fork stuff has been going out is, you've had this incredible ramp in Bitcoin, which simultaneously has caused a down ramp in numerous other names. And so, you're seeing on the other side of things, you saw a lot of these kind of names like Dash just kind of grinding down. Zcash is consolidation. XMMR, consolidation. I mean, all these things. OMG, down, NEO, consolidation. So everything has been in just a huge standstill in anticipation of the forkador, okay, which is totally cool. So now that this news has come out, it's sent a huge rush this morning in a lot of different names. So you saw some big spikes here in XMR. You saw a monster spike from 299 to 320 in Ethereum. Litecoin has been trending now for the last couple days as it's come out of this pattern. And so there has a lot of awesome constructive action going now that this forkadork is over. So I think this is going to be a really, really good, for the markets, because one of the things that's really been kind of just a huge bunner buster is, this consolidation, the consolidation. So to get power, in an instrument, a stock, a crypto, whatever, you need certain amounts of consolidation to build rest. But after that, you need to start trending, right? And so we've been just stuck here since September doing nothing. And so Litecoin is something that just busted out, finally out of this consolidation. So this thing looks like it's going to hit 70, and then we'll see if it can start getting back to it. But very, very constructive. This is one of the favorite patterns that you'll see in cryptos, is when you get this wide range after a big move and a flush down. When you have a wide range like this and it gets tighter and tighter and tighter till it has nowhere to go, we call this a base breakout. What happens is when it finally busts loose, because of the compression of the range compression creates power. Now we're starting to see some nice action come out of this. The Ethereum, you could see, like, just take this out for a second, pretend like it didn't exist, and you would just see this thing right in this like small little range, right? This is really just a $30, $40 range right here, where, it used to, when it was trending, move $30, $40 in a day. And so now we're starting to kind of come out of this range. Last week we were talking about this bottom trend line, that every time it kind of tests it, it just starts to bounce. And that trend line is holding true. So we still have a little bit of work to go, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing kind of run into the 340s, 350s now that this Bitcoin news is out. The key is going to be, how does the first dip hold, right? How does the first dip hold? So with here, we've got, hold on, let me move my 15-minute chart. You can't use 5 for cryptos. So you can see after this first push, right? So this is a $20 push. You can't really chase into this, right? Because you don't know if it's going to come back and fade. You don't really know anything. And so what we need to do is make sure that the first dips hold. So right now what's happening is we've pulled back to some support. And if we can start some rounding action here, right in this range, guys, between kind of this 306 to 312, we get some rounding action. I think that's going to set this thing up to make a move. Now, I'll show you an example of this. We took in the crypto chat room, took some LTC yesterday. What was the entry on this thing? Hold on here. Okay, so 57.52 yesterday. We risked about 80 cents. 57.52 in the crypto chat room. We entered this LTC, and it's the same pattern. So I want you to, if you want to make money on this, use the same patterns I used on LTC yesterday. So LTC yesterday, let's just take out today. LTC came out of its consolidation. See how it broke out of here right at 57? And so what we did essentially was, I don't want to chase the first spike. Okay, the first spike is, unless you're actually in it already, trying to buy up here, here, you can't manage your risk. When you chase the first spike, we call that the sucker spike. Anybody ever done that, where they bought something and that ended up being the top and it just went down from there? That's because you chased the sucker's spike. When you chase the sucker spike, you don't have any way to manage your risk, but you also don't have a consolidation to build power intraday to propel it, but then also to manage your risk. So what you want to be doing, what we did here was, I let this thing come back, and then it started to consolidate here in a tight range. See how tight this range is? And see how my moving averages are curling up right up under it? Guys, and right intraday, we use 920 and 50-day moving averages. So see how they start to curl up under here? 9 is the most important for the short-term trade. when you break the range, you need the 9 to come up right up under. We call that the curls for the girls. Okay? When you get the curls for the girls coming up under it, you can nail this thing. So I buy this thing at 57.52. Stop just goes under this base right here. And then you'll have a couple moving averages as protection, including the VWAP. Remember, VWAP is very, very important. VWAP's not just an indicator, guys. It's a lifestyle, right? When you use the VWAP properly, it's a lifestyle because you can make so much money using it properly. So now we've got, boom, first spike comes down. We add here, stop goes here. So I'm only risking 80 cents. So that if you're risking 80 cents, you can buy 200, 300, 400 shares, and your risk is going to be in the hundreds of dollars. And then it's just rocking and rolling, right? That's what kind of got us into this thing. And so, you know, we took this thing and I sold off a good chunk of mine up here, and then we rebought it. We rebought some, you know, last night on the dip as it started to even out again. And now the range is starting to break again. So we'll see, you know, how this one acts. But it got messy after the fork news. But we want this type of clean pattern here. So when you're looking at ETH, okay, now that we're starting to break range, what we need to do is get something clean, get something crisp. So right now there is no pattern, right? It's just there. It's hanging out, okay? That's totally fine. Over time in the next few hours, what's going to happen is it's going to build, okay? You've got to let things build. It's going to build power as it goes sideways and dips, and your moving averages start to catch up, right? You got to let your moving averages catch up. Remember, nobody likes a guy that runs ahead of the pack, right, and leaves his friends behind. Well, when this thing spikes up like that, you've left the stock has left the friends behind. It's got to catch up. And so as every candle this goes sideways, these things will start to curl up. All right, use your imagination just a little bit. Imagine like you start to kind of go sideways like this for a couple hours. These things will all have caught up by that time, and it'll start to curl under, okay? So you'll start to be building the curls for the girls, okay? And that's when, if you see that, that's when you can take the trade and start to shred it back to the upside, and then it's, you know, game on, okay? But don't just kind of buy it to buy it if you're a short-term trader. If you're an investor, it's different. You know, when you're investing in things, you know, your hold times are longer, so your stop losses are looser. As a trader, a man of honor, a man who's looking to make money to spend it, you know, on his living, well, we need really, really good entries because we're making these things into quick trades, right? We don't marry these. We just want to shred and get out. So let this thing start to build, and boom, okay? That's when it'll come out. Now, there's a lot of these that look pretty good, so you got to keep an eye on these things. NEO is another one where, you know, it just spiked out today, and it broke over this trend line finally. But see, this thing, it spikes and fades a lot. See how it spikes and fades a lot? So what we've got to do is, right, let this thing build out a little bit, and then you'll start to see if this thing's got any of the action. OMG is another one. You can see it's already starting to percolate. You guys see this? It's marinating, baby. It's marinating. It's percolating. So as this thing starts to build, you'll start to see this thing ramp up. And when it takes out this kind of 820, then it's game, set, match. So keep an eye on these. Guys, it may be a late night today because, frankly, these things have been sitting around for so long waiting for some type of news, some type of catalyst. And so now we have the catalyst. What we have to do is wait for a proper entry and then let this thing go. So as this thing consolidates and this range gets tighter, essentially what we'll be doing, right, is, you know, you put your stop pretty much under the base of it here. So, you know, you can go in like 730. You could probably be even a little bit tighter here, but I like to give these things a little bit more room and let this thing tighten up. You'll draw your trend line down this way, and then you'll bust loose on that, and now you'll be starting your next run. And guys, this is kind of just you'll see this quite often in pretty much all different instruments. You know, like ETH busted loose just a couple days ago, right? And you saw that same kind of deal where it spiked up and it didn't really give too many good entries. You know, you got one right here. It spiked up, it came back down, rounded out, and then you got your next push, okay? Now your secondary push is going to be a little bit of a longer base. And so now you got your secondary push. It's got to rest a little bit more. Yeah, so as this thing goes sideways, see, let your moving averages curl up. That'll provide it some risk protection. And then you're going to hammer this for the next one. So that's like a classic kind of day trading strategy. But as these things are pushing, you know, this is going to be really, really important to kind of monitor tonight and into the next day. So keep an eye on this. Now, this is the fun part, okay? So these are the big boys. Now, for months, these altcoins have all just been dead to the world. And today we finally saw a little bit of action start to come into these things. So, you know, this is where I think some of the exciting moves are going to be is, you know, in some of these bad boys, like you can see this LSK went from 5 to 740 and it's pulling back here. It's not showing anything yet, but if you start to see a tight pattern go, this could be something that looks pretty good. This KMD's already been going. This strat I've been watching forever because it's been just sitting here on this dead bottom. You know, right now it's kind of marinating here, but we don't have necessarily anything to buy yet. But this is something you definitely should have on your list. You know, a lot of these bad boys are looking pretty good. You know, some of my favorites, you know, if they can hold this IOTA, you made the double bottom here. Now you're starting to break over. You're starting to break over these trend lines. If this thing can hold up here, you may see a multi-day run in this thing. And then the one I'm really been stalking here is this IOP because this bad boy, you know, it just ran to $6 you know, a few weeks ago. And now we're starting to see this thing starting to marinate here. And, you know, this thing can move really, really quickly. You know, if it breaks into the threes, you know, you may see a run right back into the $6 kind of range. So I would keep an eye on a lot of these. One of the things, you know, that always we can do on TradingView is they have their own little scanner now. Let me see, where do you find it? I always misplace it. So on TradingView now, they got their own little crypto scanner. My computer's running a little slow. My apologies. Hold on here. What the heck, TradingView? If you notice, all the brokers are running a little slow today. All the exchanges. My Bittrex orders took like 10 minutes to get out. Hey, Brian, will you put the TradingView link in to down in the crypto chat? I can't seem to be clicking anything. Brian Zhao, which I know is not your name anymore, but you know what I mean. What the fuck? Hold on here. Hold on one sec. There we go. There you go. My man. That's the best part about having a good community. They got smarter people than me hanging out in here. All right, so one of the things that you'll see here, this is on TradingView. You could go in and, you know, you can run in a lot of different little scans on this thing. But one of the kind of things to do is, you know, you can run a quick performance scan to see like what's popping for the week or what's popping for the day and start just flipping through charts and really start digging through to see, you know, what are going to be, you know, the hot movers, you know, because that's going to be, there's so many coins out there. I tend to keep, you know, a list of them that I really like, that I've been watching, but there's new ones that pop up all the time. So, you know, you can definitely go in here and, you'll be able to find some different ideas. So you got to go in one by one and kind of keep an eye on these charts and start monitoring them, right? So like, you know, something like this, if you like it, you know, I like to set alerts and so on and so forth. And Steve, who cares if it's a Ponzi scheme? If it goes down, you just sell it. That's the way money works. There's nothing in life that's not a Ponzi scheme. The government's a Ponzi scheme. Your company is a Ponzi scheme, right? That CEO's making all the money, making all the little guys do the work. There's nothing in life that is not a Ponzi scheme. Everything I've ever seen is a damn Ponzi scheme. So what can you do? We're in the business of making money, doing the best we can, taking care of our families. And, you know, when things go against us, we get out, right? And so that's kind of how I always look at really anything in stocks. You know, when I'm trading stocks, half the things that I trade, I don't know what they do. But my guess is if some stock is $2, $3, $4, it is a giant turd, right? Most stocks are giant turds. Most cryptos are going to be turds. What are you going to do? They're just tickers to me. I'm just trying to make money and feed my people. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. I don't know where Bitcoin's going to go. Maybe this is the top. Maybe it's not. For me, it just doesn't matter, right? Because if it goes up, I'm going to make money. And if it goes down, I'm still going to make money. See, one of the things is, right, we can short anything. You know, you don't like something? Good. Put your balls on the kitchen table while you're speed chopping carrots and make a bet, right? Make a bet. If you think something's a bubble, good. Make a bet. Right? Short that shit. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. You know, that's what we do. We're in the game of speculation, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. So that's going to be really our game plan going for this week. We've got to watch. We've got some key range breaks. And so you got to be stalking these names, right? So I'm going to give you the names again. You got to put these on your damn list. I don't want to hear next week when we get in that you missed the run. Okay, so this XMR, oh, this thing is HAWT, right? Big range, got tighter and tighter and tighter, and now this thing is starting to shred to the upside, right? And so this thing can go. So watch this thing as it starts to dip and starts to set up. Keep an eye on this because this is a big breakout. It's been waiting to break for quite some time. Ethereum, same type of deal. As long as it holds this trend line, now that we broke, let's see this thing start to develop into the patterns that we know work. Litecoin, big breakout this week, okay? Now we got to watch all these dips and all these little patterns that start to show up. Remember, this is how trading works. You get an idea on the big picture of what's happening, right? So this is a key breakout. Then we use our smaller term picture, our smaller term charts, which is our 15-minute chart, to start identifying patterns on a small time frame to manage our risk and time our entries. Okay, so ETH, LTC, XMR, NEO. Got to keep this one on the list too. And then OMG. No, this OMG is already getting ready. This thing may be ready even tonight. We'll have to see how it acts. But I would really, really keep an eye on those as the big ones. Write them down. Put them on a list. And then out of the altcoins, you know, these are a little bit more difficult to deal with because you got to do them in pairs. So you still have to hold a bunch of BTC to buy them and so on and so forth. But there are a few that are looking pretty good. This LSK's got some potential here. It's come out of a long-term downtrend of the last couple months. This Stratus is sitting on a dead bottom. I think this IOP's got a little bit of juice. And another one that has crazy momentum the last few weeks is this GRX. You know, you can see if this thing starts to break, it's consolidation out of this, you know, and it's going to be a sloppy consolidation because it's a penny stock. If this thing starts to break out over here, and you're already starting to see some constructive action on smaller time frames, this thing could have some this thing could have some potential. VTC is another one. So this one had this big move, you know, where it went from 2 to 9. So it's up about 400%, give or take. Now it had that rancid pullback for a couple of days where it got cut in half. See how it went sideways? So it built up a little bit of rest. And now, like, you're starting to creep back out. Something like this, you definitely want to keep a watch because this thing could get back into the 9 or 10 and really start shredding. It's got that kind of momentum. Look at the daily chart, like how strong it is. You know, so if you're looking at its daily chart, what you'll see here is a classic breakout pullback. So you look at its daily. All right. Right, so you had like this kind of larger picture breakout, and then you came back, tested the trend line. Now you're building a base, and so now you're busting over these MAs, and that's a really, really powerful sign. I'd be watching this on shorter term time frames. You know, this may give you a little bit of shredzilla on it. This thing can move fast. You can see from just going from here in the 5s to 7.4 in 30 minutes, you know, it can move 20, 30, 40%. Relatively quickly. You know, YouTube's been acting a little bit funny. I don't know if the video shows up that well. There might be a little bit of a lag, but sometimes we just got to make do with what we got to make do. You know what I mean? But that's just the nature of life. My apologies on that, Tony. You know, I think usually it never happens like that. So we'll see. Let me maybe close a couple programs. I got a lot going on. All right, let's see if that helps. Bam. Cool. Close that. I think we should be good to go. Look, what you saying? What? Yeah, VTC, BTC. I think this one has some potential here. I keep an eye on this one. And then this GRX too. Yeah, stock picker, the pairs are all decimals. That's why I don't do them that often. Like any of these ones you even look in US dollar, like you still have to do them in the pairs. So like something that like moves pretty well, like Mona. This Mona, by the way, this is something I would say all the altcoins, this is probably my favorite setup right now. Check that out. That thing is tight. I don't know what switch to 720 means, but I shall try. Dun, 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 dun. So what do you guys think of this bad boy? So let me bring out the pair here. Small BTC. Dun, 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 dun. More BTC. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Check that out. You got this push. You just pull back, and now you're starting to get you're starting to curl higher. If you come out of this trend line right here, I think you're going to be able to really kind of shred this thing. Oh, yeah, it could be I don't know whose internet it is. I usually get like 400 Mbps, but who knows? Hey, a little Japanese cat coin, huh? That's kind of cool. I think my net should be fast enough. Boom, 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 boom. So okay, I'm fast. I'm shred fast. So let's add this bad boy to the list too, and I think you guys are going to be in some good shapes, okay? So that's your game plan. You know, that's your total game plan here. We got a couple altcoins. Josh, man, I thought you were going to give me a call yesterday. You're one of the worst tracker downers I have ever seen. Good, 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 good. Man, this thing is ready to shred. So let's open this thing up to some questions. And guys, by the time we see each other next week, we should have all made some money because this day, look at this shred. Yes. Dudes. Oh. You bet, Harsh. Anytime. If I'm around, I pick up. If I'm not, I don't. But I always try to call people back. But I don't use any of that WhatsApp stuff that a lot of people like to use. I'm not a big believer in it. It always surprises me when my WhatsApp rings. I keep thinking it's one of my Indian relatives. Dun, 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 dun. I think this thing's going to be ready soon. We shall see. What I like about NEO is its ability to move so fast. You can see like how it's just like, you can go from 27 to 34 in a hot second, right? Even if you have just 100 shares because you have a smaller, account, this stuff moves really, really well. I don't trade right from TradingView. I still go right from the brokerage or exchange, I guess they call them. I don't understand why they don't just call them brokers. Seems like it's so much easier. But yeah, I just trade right from it. I know you can do the trading from Coinigy or the charting platforms like CryptoWatch, but security and then also just speed. Sometimes there's a little bit of lag when you like hook up the APIs. I used to hook up my API to like GDAX at Coinigy, and it was always it was always a little bit slower than I'd like. There's a little bit of lag, and when you're trying to make quicker moves, I don't like that lag. Now, if you're doing more investing stuff, it's like a slower thing. Yeah, you can hook up your API and it's not a big deal. But for the most part, I like to do it right from the exchange. The two main exchanges that I use every day is one. You have to have multiple, by the way. Cryptos is not like stocks where you just open an account at Ameritrade or Interactive Brokers and they give you all the features and customer service and you can call and you can wire money and it's just so easy and you get these beautiful platforms. Cryptos, the platforms are ugly. There are no customer service. The commissions are a ripoff. In general, everything about all these exchanges is pretty much awful. But you have to make do with what you can. So I use GDAX to trade Ethereum and Bitcoin and Litecoin. They just have the easiest to use platform. They're also connected to Coinbase, so it's the easiest to get in and out of stuff, like get your money in or get your money out. And then the other thing is, then I use Bittrex. Bittrex is the best for altcoins, I believe, because you have a whole list of pairs, BTC pairs you can trade, a lot of them. Then you have a whole list of ETH pairs you can trade. And then they have quite a few USDT pairs. So, if it's easier for your eyes to actually trade in the US dollar, XMR, Dash, Zcash, BCC, OMG, NEO, all the big boys that are like pretty much above $10 or whatever that have volume, you can trade those on Bittrex in USDT. So, it'll just look like you're, trading it with US dollars. And I think that's actually probably the best aspect of it. I do the bigger 3 trades still on GDAX versus Bittrex for the specific reason that the spreads are also tighter on GDAX. And that is, of course, that's just a big deal, right? You've got to think about when you're sitting there thinking about this stuff, you've got to really think about commissions and all that stuff too, right? So, I always kind of get there and I always think about okay, what's the spread? What's the commissions? And the GDAX just has better spreads. Like on LTC, when I was trading LTC today, when you're trading on LTC today, LTC was like $63, and on Bittrex, it was at like 61.50, and the spread on it was 50 cents, where the spread on GDAX was 1 penny. Go figure, right? And yeah, guys, always use stop losses when you're trading cryptos. You know, we've woken up to a couple Christmas surprises in the chat room over the last couple months also, where people are like, are you into something? No, I told you my stop loss. Like, these things will dump out, you know, out of nothing. Because one of the things that happens with cryptos is the Asian markets control so much of the action that while we're sleeping, you know, there could be news, or, you know, there's just aggressive trading happening in the Asian market, and you wake up and you're like, I thought this thing was at 64, now it's 58. Shit, right? And that's happened a few times to me. I had to learn that the hard way. So when you're going to sleep, you know, use a stop loss. That will be, you know, that's going to be really, really important. I am doing 50-50. I wouldn't call them swing trades, but hold on one sec. A lot of them are big movers. So if you watch some of the videos on YouTube, like last week, we really shredded Bitcoin and then also BCC. They were like multi-day trades. You know, we held them for like 2 or 3 days. This XMR that we've been in, that we sold today, that we entered 2 days ago. LTC, which we sold out today, you know, I entered that yesterday. So they're short-term trades, but they're not necessarily always day trades. You know, cryptos, even though they have more range, they kind of take a longer time to develop because you're using 15-minute candles. Where like in the stock market, you can use 1-minute charts sometimes at the open and just catch like nice shreds like immediately. You know, in crypto, in stocks, my average hold time's like 10 minutes because you just move so fast. In cryptos, the range is bigger, but because it's a 24-hour market, you don't have necessarily the impetus of an open and close. So you got to kind of mix and match them. Sometimes you're in a day trade and it's just kind of going, so it turns into a swing trade. Milo, I'm still making a lot more money trading stocks than I do cryptos, for sure. I mean, the stock market is the hottest game because you still have margin. You know, you still have all the platforms and scanners, the liquidity. You know, it's easy to get an output. So I can make my money trading stocks in 15 minutes. Where, you know, some of these cryptos, you're sitting on them for days, right? And you don't have margins. So like your money can be tied up. But the plays are pretty clean. You know, you find clean flags and clean, you know, just clean action in general. And, you know, that helps. Sorry I'm jumping down so much, but I got to get a little, my back is a little sore from lifting weights today. So I'm just sitting on a stair stepper, just pumping away, keep myself loose. When you get old, you go to the gym, you're always at danger of hurting yourself. I haven't been stock picker. I haven't been like too aggressive in the pennies. You know, we've traded a few of them. We had some trades in the THC coin, those pot coins, and you know, I've done a few of them, but it's not my bread and butter. The Big 10, the bigger ones have been my more bread and butter. I see markets. I'll check them out. I see. I saw a lot of the Forex brokers, they only let you trade Bitcoins. You can't get into like some of the other cryptos. And so that kind of throws me off. I haven't used BitConnect yet, Mr. Dan. Let me check them out. I mean, a website doesn't mean anything, but I'm not familiar with them. I've heard of them. I just have not. I've never opened an account there, so I don't know. I wouldn't be able to give you a proper answer. BitConnect is open source peer-to-peer community, decentralized cryptocurrency that allows people to store. Okay, so it's decentralized. I got it. Oh, yeah, U.S. citizens no go for IC markets. Yeah, it looks interesting. I mean, I'm interested in these decentralized exchanges. I think that's an interesting concept, but I just haven't been. I know there's like Bitstamp and some of these other ones. I'm going to try some out though. Good, good, good. Anybody else got any questions? My man. Well, rock and roll, guys. Well, that's your game plan. Do not forget about these bad boys. All right? Man, fuck, this thing is a beast. Do not forget about these bad boys. Some of these things are going to be some good shredding going on. You know, I haven't traded GBTC because it's on the it's OTC. It just doesn't have any liquidity. I've heard of it, but I have not taken a gander due to the liquidity on it. It's just too there's not enough volume really most days. Guys, it's been fun. It's been real. I'll see everybody next week. For the rest of you guys, I'll see you in the crypto chat. We'll be shredding all night. If you guys want to come and hang out, we are in the crypto chat up at all sorts of weird hours every day. So you guys, you guys come and join us. All right? Peace.